very special guest in the house. From Indigo Light, we have Kate with us. How are you doing tonight, Kate?
I'm doing very well. And yourself?
Pretty good, thank you.
Good.
Could you tell us a little bit about what you do?
Well, it all started when I was very, very young. And I think my mother knew about it my entire life because she, like myself, can actually see spirits and interact with them and even communicate with them. She actually taught me how to do spirit drawings, but that's something we'll get into a little bit later. Basically what I do is I am a light worker, and what that entails is I have a unique ability to manipulate cosmic energy into spaces and even into people so that it can do what it does best, and that is absorb negative energy and entities and turn them into positive energy and entities.
Awesome.
And I've been able to resuscitate healing in people that have been sitting right across from me, and also people who live across the country and even across the ocean.
Wow,
and,
so you could actually heal people from a distance then?
Yes. When it comes to doing things in the spirit world, distance and time don't really seem to matter much at all. And whenever you're manipulating cosmic energy, time and space are irrelevant. You just focus on the person that you intend to facilitate healing, and the energy does the work from there.
That makes sense. Now, you do house cleansings?
Yes.
What does something like that entail?
Well, when I do a house cleansing, it's normally because somebody feels physically threatened by an entity that lives inside of their home. I don't really like to use Hollywood because they have a very real talent of over-exaggerating things. The point being is that they have a real sense of trying to manipulate things that really don't go the way that you see them happening. I mean, there are these shows that they have where people will go into a haunted house and they'll try and communicate with the spirits that live there in order to, kind of facilitate what exists there and what doesn't. And when they do, they always use this really eerie music and loud noises, on the audio tune, not necessarily from them, but it makes it more dramatic.
Yes.
And when I do a house cleansing, it's pretty much the exact opposite. I've trained for a number of years to learn how to protect myself and my clients. I wouldn't be doing house cleansings and getting rid of negative entities and negative energy inside of the homes, like in the floors and the walls and the ceilings, if I couldn't protect myself and others that I was trying to help. When I go into a home and I cleanse it, I basically pretend that the house is a living thing, because it has memories that live inside of it. It has an energy, a sense of home, a sense of security and warmth and welcomeness. And basically what I'll do is I'll try to find the entity if I can, and if I can't, I'll kind of like just basically call it out. I'll flush it out. I'll flood the ceiling and the walls and the floors with energy. That's actually only happened once. Normally when I come in, they feel threatened already, so they're like right there. And it is in a form of challenge. And when that happens, I basically talk to somebody that I can see, but nobody else can. And people will look at me like, is she really talking to somebody? I'm like, yes, he's right there. Or normally they'll stand right here next to me for some reason on my side, or they'll stand right behind me. And normally they do that because ill-intentioned spirits. Well, ill-intentioned spirits, they're not as brave as you think. They feed off of negative energy, like fear and sadness and grief and remorse and longing and basically any type of negative human experience that you can imagine. That's what they feed off of. So in essence, when they feed off of fear, they themselves become manipulators of fear. So they become fearful of people like me who can see them and who know that they don't have any power over me, so they can't do anything. I've had I've had spirits before that have tried to scare me, that have tried to hurt me, but nothing ever happens, and I never get scared because I know that once I become scared of them, they maintain dominance and control over me like they do for the people that live in the house.
Mm-hmm.
And after I found...
Now, I mean, this is definitely a gift which you have, but has it ever been considered like a curse at the same time? Has it ever made your life harder for you growing up or through life, do you think?
I will say this, you have to be careful who you tell. You have, in many ways it's a little bit worse because there are plenty of people out there who don't believe in this stuff, who don't believe that people can do and see what I can do and see.
I think it scares them too, even sometimes people.
Yeah, because, nobody likes to think about this giant black mass standing behind you that's over 7 feet tall and trying to grab you or trying to push you or scratch you or whatever, just to elicit some kind of a reaction out of you. Mm-hmm. It's not scary to me because I know how to protect myself, and I know that if I am afraid, that gives them power over me, and then they can attack me.
Yeah.
So I know deep in my heart that they are really harmless, but anybody else who would see what I see would of course be afraid. I mean, when I was 6 years old, I remember sleeping in sleeping bags in my room with my sisters. We were having basically a camp out in my room, and I saw this figure just right there in the doorway. And I screamed, and the babysitter came running up because my parents were out that night. And she's like, "What happened?" I'm like, "I saw a monster." And ever since then, it just people were telling me it's not real. Mm-hmm. It's not real. And if you pretend that it doesn't exist, they will go away. And for the longest time, that's what I tried. But I just kept seeing these things. They would hover around my bed. I had no idea what they were or what they wanted. As far as I was concerned, they were just a figment of my imagination, and I was being overreactive and just making them up. I never actually told my mom that I could see them because I thought that they were fake. And, she kind of had that sense that I was different, that I could see the same things that she could. I just never talked to it about her. Mm-hmm. And it was only until I was 18 that I actually felt comfortable sleeping in my own bedroom without a nightlight on.
Wow.
Because when the lights were on, I couldn't see them. It was only when my room was dark or pitch black that I actually could see them.
Wow.
And it was by some fortune that I met my mom's friend, Jeannie, and she told me that what I could see and feel, it wasn't fake, it was real. And she got into how I could learn how to protect myself and how to switch my my abilities on and off. I have this mental on-off switch, so when I need to sense something, I just flip it on.
So is there any advice that you would have for anybody then that might be, maybe a young adult that is experiencing this kind of stuff and they do have people telling them hey, this isn't real, or, what type of steps should they take, or where should they look for answers?
Well, the first thing that I would tell them is don't feel like you're crazy, because there are literally hundreds of thousands of kids and young adults and even older adults who can see and hear and sense the exact same things that they can. And the second thing I would tell them is don't be afraid of what you're seeing, because when you are afraid, that gives them power over you. And the second you decide to stop fearing them, that's the second that they become completely harmless. Always listen to your spirit guides. That's my main point that I'm trying to get to. Always trust your gut instinct, because it will never, ever lead you astray unless you do the exact opposite of your gut instinct. And then, it's not going to be pretty.
So what are the spirit drawings?
Spirit drawings are what I draw whenever I come in contact with somebody else's spirit guide. Whenever they want to be drawn, they'll come right next to me. I don't know why they always show up here, but it's the same thing for ill-intentioned spirits and spirit guides. They always show up right here next to me. And then they'll say, draw me. Or they'll give me the inclination, at least, that they want to be drawn very badly. And so they'll share memories with me of what they saw whenever they looked into a mirror, or what they saw when they looked at a family photograph, or a home video of themselves. And that's what I draw from. I draw from memory, and then I put it on the paper. And I always use chalk pastel or soft pastel. It's basically sidewalk chalk, and it's very easy to work with. And whenever I use it, it's easy to erase a mistake. And because sometimes I'll look back in my memory bank, I'm like, oh no, his eye is more like this,
okay.
Or his nose is more like that. And then after I finish it, I always sign their name at the bottom of the page, and give it to the client.
So it's actually you're drawing what they're showing you in your head. Is not like it's not like channeling or anything like that. Then it's actually, would it be considered like that then, or?
Well, to be honest, I'm not really sure what channeling is. Basically, whenever I come in contact with a spirit, I remember when I was 18 and I first started doing this, I would invite spirits into my room who were looking for the light and just couldn't find it. And they would show me memories of their most previous past life. They would show me what they looked like, what they did, who their families were, maybe even where they lived.
Oh.
I mean, sometimes they would tell me how they died. They could just never show me because they couldn't remember that close, especially if it was something traumatic like a car accident. They would just give me an inclination, like this thought would pop up in my head. I wouldn't see it happening, but this thought would pop up into my head like, oh, it was a heart attack. Oh, it was a car accident. Oh, it was this or that or the other thing. And when I see those images, like the spirits will be standing right here, and it'll just play over, kind of like a video. One image, another image, another image, and it will show their best features of what they looked like when they were still in the side of their bodies. And it'll just play over and over again until I finish the drawing.
Wow, that's really cool. Do you see is there any spirit guides or any, like with me tonight, or anybody here that you see, or?
Yeah, well, Sylvia's right there next to you.
Is she?
And you have 96 others. Wow, you're very well protected. Some people can have over 100. Some people can have only a few.
Wow. Because it's is it really, is it like, do you consider that it's all written already? Like kind of in a way, not that it's actually written on a piece of paper, but like our plan is kind of made before we come here, or?
No, I think what does happen is what was I gonna say? But it's not written in stone what we are going to do, because we make decisions during the course of the day that can change anything. It can change the direction that our life is going to travel in. Some people can travel down a road and decide that they took a wrong way, and then they have to backtrack until they find a path that is right for them. And when that happens, nothing is ever set in stone. I've said before that there's really no such thing as a guarantee. But spirit guides, they can, because they know you so well, they can pretty much predict what is going to happen to you before it happens. And they always do, because, like I said, time and space, they're just illusions for us to cope with this world, this dimension that we live in now.
Wow, that's awesome. Now, where can we come to see you? Like, where can we come to get a spirit drawing, or what's the best place and time?
Well, I have a office in Williamsville. It's off of Worley. It's right next to ECC North, and it's called Mystic Wolf Healing Center.
Okay. And
there's a big white sign out front with a howling wolf and a circle around it. It's all in black and white. And it's number 2175 Worley Drive. And that's where I take all of my appointments. I haven't had many there, unfortunately, but I'm always accepting new clients. Okay. And if you want to contact me, you can either email me or call my cell phone number, which is on my website, www.indigolight, all one word, .biz.
Now, are you there every day, or how is it by appointment only?
It's just by appointment only. People, when they think of psychics, they think of readings, and that's not what I do. I do energy healings and spirit drawings.
Okay, cool. And the cleansing, the home
and
house
the cleansings
too.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Now, what if you had to pick one of those things like that would be your strongest, like that you like to do the best? What would it be?
I like to do energy healings because when people come to me and they are in a lot of pain and they've tried medication, they've tried surgery, they've tried doctors, I like helping them and really just giving them a sense that that they can go on with their life and not be in pain anymore.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Like, I helped out one guy who suffers from anxiety, be at peace, finally, and not feel nervous when he walks outside.
So that's got to be a pretty amazing feeling for you then. And it's so that in a way, it's like even though you're healing someone else, you're kind of getting healing too because you're, you know what I mean? You're getting that positivity that you put out there. So it's almost like makes a full circle, which is kind of neat too. So
it is. It really is.
I just want to say thank you very much for being here tonight. It was a pleasure to have you, and hopefully we'll get to talk to you again soon.
I would love that. Thank you.
Thank you.